Hey guys, it's Dani Nicole, and I am live. So I apologize for being late. In my house, just the lighting is horrible. Like the lighting in my home is horrible. So I am, as you can see, in my bedroom right now. But anyway, I wanted to jump on here. I'm Dani Nicole. I wanted to just jump on here. I had planned on doing the VIP author experience, but since that didn't go over as planned, I didn't want to be discouraged. I said, let me jump on here, and in the words of a Baptist pastor, I won't be before you long. I don't plan on being before you long. But I wanted to talk to you guys tonight, and I'm old school, so I have a notebook and a pen. No teleprompter. I'll go back, way back. But I wanted to talk to you guys tonight about visibility, author, and why so many authors stay invisible. And I myself can attest to the question, why do so many talented authors stay invisible? And, when I was thinking about this, I had to think about first to me, right? Why is it that before I can share with anyone else, I need to look at myself. And as an author, why do we stay invisible? Well, for me, I know that fear has sometimes come on the scene with me. I'm afraid. I'm afraid to be vulnerable and show. I know I have the talent and the creativity to write the book, to put the story together, develop the characters. But it's the fear of, will I be liked? Will they like the book? And when I first started off, bestseller was important to me. So when my first novel didn't hit the bestseller, I kind of felt defeated at the time. And I said, I was afraid and fearful. Okay, it didn't hit bestseller. Is it going to even hit the audience that I wanted to hit? And so, I felt that way. I felt fearful. And I don't know if any of you feel or have some fear, and that's why you're afraid to share your book, share your author journey. The second thing, you're waiting for perfection. So I kept waiting, and I kept saying, well, it's going to be perfect. Everything is going to be perfect. This, once I publish it, it's going to shoot like a rocket. Well, it did not shoot like a rocket. It actually didn't do as good as I had thought. But nothing's perfect and nobody's perfect. Inconsistency. So I know for me in the beginning, I really had to learn to be consistent in content creating, posting, just talking about my novel in general, just talking about it to other people, and continual, and it's still a journey for me to continue to talk to others about my writing, my journey, my books. I've done 2 anthologies, I've written a fiction, I created a coloring book, but I have to be consistent about what I'm sharing and if I'm letting people know what I'm doing. Because if I don't tell them, they're not going to know. If I don't share the content, if I don't share the information, where they can follow me, where they can purchase my products, they're not going to know. Sometimes it can be the lack of confidence, and that is one thing that I had to gain, especially as an author, a new author. The industry for authors, for me, is new. And I did not know what I know now. And I just thought I think you might have heard me in previous podcasts. I thought I could just write the book and get it out there. But that is not true. I can't just write the book and get it out there. It took editing, and a couple of times editing, creating the cover for the book, getting it copywritten, developing the characters in a certain way, learning how to launch and promote. And so I wasn't confident at first. And I'm more confident than I was 3 years ago in 2023 when I decided I wanted to go ahead and take out the manuscript, rewrite it, and send it to publishers or even, beta readers to check it out. So I wasn't confident at first. Again, I'm confident now, but not in the beginning. And then sometimes we hide behind the writing. So I know at first, I just thought all I could do is write a book. Really didn't know, I really at first just saw myself as an author. But, authors we're more than just an author. We're business minded people. and we need to be a brand just as well as being an author. We're business. We sell our books, we sell our services as coaches, and so we are also a brand, and we are more than just our book. And you can make money other than just, because the book alone is not going to bring in the revenue, and it's not going to bring in the notoriety. You have to be out there, and you have to really show your face and let people see, hey, I'm an author, I'm here, and I want to share with everyone, this is what I'm doing. Okay? So that's another thing that I think, like I said before, as an author, that I had to do. And again, it starts with me first. It started with me, Again, I had to take accountability and take the first step. So the first step was publishing the book. And I remember at my job, I remember telling a few people what I was doing, and I was nervous. And they were like, oh, wow, really? Like, what's it about? And they took interest, and they were like, okay, tell me more. Let me know when this is happening. Let me know, when I can purchase it. They got behind me, Dani, as the author. And, as I continued to pursue that, other people got behind me. And when I shared it, and when I created social media and started to follow a community of people, of authors, publishers, when I started to follow people and they followed me, and then they began to share my information, and that helped out a lot. It helped out a lot. And, I just want to thank, people who are following me now, who, were with me in 2024 when I finally decided, hey, I'm getting ready to post create my Facebook, Instagram, create my pages, because I'm getting ready to share what I've written. I think it had been maybe even a year before I shared it. I was just writing, and I was just getting things edited and creating the book cover and things like that. I think it took about a year before I really even shared it, before it was published in 2024. But I learned since then that and I can tell you this now, you should be sharing your book even before it's published. You can be talking about it, sharing videos, trailers, sharing the cover, sharing the book blurb, talking about the characters. I even did that. And you can do those things before it's published. You can even do your pre-orders. So there's things I've learned now. And you should market. When you have the book idea, you should start marketing. You should start talking about it. You should start sharing with others about it and letting them know, okay, this is what I'm coming out with. I have this book coming out. This is what it's about. Would you support me when it comes out? And they'll be like, yeah, just give me the information, or tell me when you'll be out there promoting it, where you're going to be when you're doing the book fair, things like that. So I really want to encourage authors tonight, just don't hide your talent, don't hide your writing, share it with others, because everyone has a story and to tell, and there are people who want to hear your story, and there's an audience just for you, whether your story is fiction, nonfiction, a memoir, poetry, the anthologies for moms that I'm writing with. There's an audience for moms. There's an audience for moms that are out here, single moms, moms that are married, moms that are divorced, moms that are taking care of their parents, stepmoms, foster moms, grandmothers that are, out here raising grandchildren. Some kids have moved back home from college, and then now you're a mom with a 25-year-old in the home. That is an audience that can relate. And as a mom myself, I definitely can relate. And that is why I joined the Moments for Moms anthology, because I'm a mom and I have some struggles and some challenges, but I have stories to tell. So what I want to say to the authors is, don't be afraid. Don't wait for things to be perfect. Have consistency, be confident, and don't hide behind your writing. Share it. Even if you don't publish it, share it. You might want to just share it on social media, or you might just want to share it on your website, or you might want to do articles or blog about it. But that's okay. But I want you to know that do not be afraid to share your talent, your gift with others. Because if the story was given to you, it was given to you to share. And that's what I need you to do. From author to author, I need you to share. Don't be afraid to share with others your story, because it's very, very important. And I had to learn that. I had to learn that myself. And I'm telling you this because I had to go through this. And it took me some time, and I'm still learning. And I'm still a little afraid sometimes, but I don't let that stop me from moving forward and to, keep the momentum in what I'm doing, because I love to write. I've always been a writer as a young girl. And when I got the opportunity, I said, I'm just going to go for it. And it has continued to build from there. And that's what I want you to know. But like I said, you don't have to publish it. If you might just like to journal. And that's fine too. And maybe one day you will publish it. But maybe you will not. But you want to share your story with others. Hey, okay, so I'm saying hey to Tiffany, and I'm saying hey to Cipriano for jumping on this live. You guys weren't on here earlier, but I said, in the words of a Baptist pastor, I am not going to be before you long, because I do not. It took a minute for me to just even jump on the live, for those who know me. Hey, Tiffany. Thank you guys for joining. Cipriano, thank you for jumping on and responding. And like Tiffany said, so visibility requires boundaries, because many people reach out from all kinds of places for many reasons. And that's true. I mean, once you get out there, you're going to get people reaching out to you. And people reaching out and say, how did you do it? What path did you take? Did you do traditional publishing? Did you self-publish? And then you can even share your journey from there. I mean, I know when I started off, I wasn't sure if I was going to do traditional or self-publishing. But either one you choose, you're going to have to put in some work. You're going to have to be consistent. You're going to have to not hide behind your writing. Don't be afraid. It's going to cost some money. So you're going to have to invest in yourself, invest in projects that go, maybe, okay, you write the book, but maybe you need to invest in maybe some classes for writing, or for character development, even before it's published, and that's okay. You want to give yourself room to hone your craft of writing, and again, it's not going to be perfect. Don't wait for perfection before you get out there and share your story. So Tiffany says, people with good intentions and some with self-seeking motives. Absolutely. And you have to be careful as well, and you want to surround yourself with people who have good intentions to help you. And you want to surround yourself with people who encourage you, and people who support you, and people who say, how can I help you? Or when you reach out and say, I'm having a writer's block, let's just say. And you want to have a community of people who are there to help you along the way. That is very important. And I can say that over these past 3 years, I've had that. And that's a blessing. And again, you have to be careful of people who are self-seeking or have motives, not good intentions for you, but their intentions are okay, yeah, let me bring her along, but then they don't necessarily care about what you're going through. They just are there for the moment. They're just there for the spotlight. So it's all about learning yourself, learning to trust yourself, and then learning to trust others with what you're sharing with them. And you also got to be careful when you're out here going through publishing companies. I had to learn that too. It's people out here that are really sneaky, and if you aren't aware, they'll take all your money, or they'll say it's thousands of dollars. When there's some things you can just either do yourself, or keep checking for those resources that are going to give you, what do I say? I don't want to say bang for your buck. What is that? What am I trying to say? You want to encounter, well, you want to do your research first. Let's start there, because either you're going to self-publish or you're going to do traditional publishing, but you're going to spend some money whichever way you go. You are still going to have to promote yourself, be consistent in posting, updating your website, talking about yourself, and sharing what you've written. And so it really all starts with you. It all starts with you and your confidence, and then building that community of people that are around you. Hey, Juanita, thank you for jumping on. I wanted to jump on. For those of you who don't know, I'm Dani Nicole, and I'm an author. And I just wanted to come on here and just share with the authors up and coming. If your book is done, it might be on paper and not even published, but I was sharing that the visibility. So what happens is, as an author myself, we stay invisible. And we stay invisible because we're afraid. We stay invisible because we're waiting for, it's not the perfect time, but it's never going to be the perfect time. We stay invisible because sometimes we're not consistent, and you have to be consistent if you want to grow as an author. We lack confidence, that's why. And sometimes we hide behind the writing. So I'm saying all that tonight just to encourage an author. If you're thinking about, okay, I want to write my memoir, write it. The first thing you want to do is just write it. Just get it out on paper, get it out written, and then go from there. And then talk about it with others. Maybe go back and forth with a few people you know. Hey, I'm thinking about writing this book. What do you think? What are your thoughts? Can I share it with you? Can I talk to you about it? Can we just jump on a Zoom call? It might be someone at work. It might be someone, if you're a young person in school, it might be your parents. But just talk about it and kind of see what they say. But if you feel like this is your calling and this is something you want to share with the world about, you might want to talk to them about being a mom. You might want to talk to them about going back to school as an adult. But share your story, because someone really needs to hear it. And I'm a witness that don't bottle it up. Let it out. Let it out and let others hear what you have to say. So before I go, is there anyone who has some questions? Okay, let me ask you a question. What do you think keeps most authors from being hidden? So I had shared fear, waiting for perfection, inconsistency, I can't even say the word, inconsistency, lack of confidence, or hiding behind the writing. So for those who are viewing, what do you think keeps most authors from being hidden? Why do they stay invisible? Why do they hide behind the writing? What do you think? Any takers on that question? If not, no pressure. So Tiffany says, what has been the greatest challenge now that you are more visible? So for me, the greatest challenge, sometimes I'm still fearful. I think I'm still, the biggest challenge for me is, I'm going to say this, trusting myself and believing in myself, because I've done it. I have to remind myself, Danielle, you've already, the books are out there, or what you're doing is out there. Don't give up. That imposter syndrome comes up a lot. I already canceled myself out, but I'm learning that I need to continue to believe in myself. And if it doesn't turn out the way I think it should, that doesn't mean it's a failure. I just got to go back and try something new. But don't give up. So Rosalind said, looking for the right audience. And that's true. That's what happened with me when I started writing, because I was new to the industry. So I didn't know that I probably should find a target audience. I was just targeting everybody. But when I first started off, I had a fiction book. So I had to look for an audience that at first wrote fiction. So that started with that. And then as I moved on, I'm writing nonfiction. So yeah, that's good. Looking for the right audience sometimes keeps authors from being visible because they're not sure. But you got to figure that out. Try to figure that out in the beginning. Who is my target audience? Who do I want this book to speak to? And then Rosalind says she doesn't want to feel like she's overselling. Yeah, that's true. I felt the same way, but if if I'm not consistent in talking about it and sharing, this is the book I wrote, this is what it's about, this is where you can find it to purchase it. Because I don't think you're overselling. I had to learn that too. You want it, think of it at like Amazon. Like Amazon has commercials. Amazon is on your ads. They pop up. They're not overselling. Amazon, I subscribe to something and they're popping up in my emails. They don't care about overselling. They're selling, and I'm right on that app too. And I'm pushing the button, add to cart, and then a couple of days later, I'm ordering my merchandise. So overselling, I think you want to oversell because you want to get your product, your book out there, for people to see. So, hey, Jacqueline, Dr. Cox, I see you out there. Dr. Cox, Jacqueline says, but it takes time to gain an audience and a following. So thank you for sharing that. And it does. It doesn't happen overnight. I've been doing this since, I put my book out there for editing and beta readers and things like that in 2023. And it's 2026. And I'm still, it's still taking time to have the audience and the following. I mean, I don't have thousands of followers. I think I'm in the hundreds right now. And that's okay because, again, it takes time to gain the audience and the following. So Tiffany says, yes, I went from a post maybe once a month to posting multiple times a week to promote. Consistency is key, but it isn't comfortable. Oh my goodness. I agree. It's just not comfortable sometimes. For me, doing this, to be honest, doing this live, I had to get out of my comfort zone. I wanted to just hide behind, my posts. And the funny thing is, I've shared this before I did the podcast. This was last year. And the first thing I said was, no, I don't want to do any videos. But I'm doing a podcast. So now I'm being seen. But I had to step out my comfort zone. And that's still the challenge, Tiffany, is the video. That's still a challenge for me, but I am doing it step by step. I'm doing it step by step. And I appreciate the support, the encouragement from other authors, just people in general who are saying, you're doing a great job. Just keep going. Don't give up. Opportunities are going to come your way. And I've received a lot of great opportunities since then that I've been able to be a part of. And it's all because I came out of my shell. I didn't hide behind the writing or hide behind the post. And so I'm doing more now than I think I've ever done before. So, Nicole Forbes, I know her as Cipriano. That's my friend. Hey, friend. Hey, bestie. So, she says, how did you get to the point where you felt comfortable about sharing your book? It took some time. The more I talked about it, is the more I felt comfortable about sharing. Once I started posting more, once I started talking about it more to other people, and I saw their excitement, and they were like, when's your book coming out? And I'm like, in about 6 months. Things like that. As I began to share, and they got excited, then I got excited, like, okay, I can do this thing. And then I began to feel more comfortable in that aspect because people were interested, and people were like, oh, I'll read it. When it comes out, just, let me know. And that's what I did. So, I'm continually sharing, even sharing now. I have a podcast out of that. So if there's any authors who are, let me put that plug in. If you want some visibility, because we're talking about visibility right now, I do have a podcast called Book Talk Author Visibility. And I did put the link in my post. But if you're interested, I can, if you can't find the link or if you missed it, just let me know in the chat, interested, and I can send you the link. Come on my podcast. We could talk about your book. And it doesn't have to be fiction. It could be a nonfiction. It could be a memoir. It could be a coloring book. It could be a comic book, but that's your story. And if you want to share your story, it doesn't matter what kind of, it could be poetry. You might say, I got a poetry book coming out, and I want to talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about your journey from writing your poetry and the steps you had to take to get comfortable enough to at least, if you haven't even if you haven't published it yet, that's okay. But you got your book in your hand and you're like, okay, I got a copy of it. Now what's next? So let's talk about it. So I have not done an audiobook, Rosalind. I've been looking into that. And so if I'm being honest, so in the past, I've seen that the audiobooks cost a lot, but I know there's resources out there, I mean, probably right now, that it probably costs less than I think. But I would love to do an audiobook for my fiction novel. But yeah, we'll connect and maybe I can get some resources on doing an audiobook. That would be great. But then I have to hire some actors, right, to be my characters. Oh, okay, that'd be fun. Okay, I'm going to reach out to you, Rosalind, about that. But again, so there I have some authors who want to, right now, ask me some questions. Audiobook, okay, I'm going to reach out to Rosalind and find out, okay, what can I do? How can I, move forward in doing something? Because that would be something new. I've done the ebook and I've done the paperback, but the audiobook would be nice. So that would be a nice thing, something new to learn as an author. And I feel like you always want to keep learning. You never stop learning about your craft. You never stop learning writing. Again, like I said, you might say, well, okay, I think I want to take some writing classes. I think I want to take, I want to do writing development. And you know how many classes that are free out here, or videos like on YouTube, LinkedIn. I mean, you could take free video classes or courses and sharpen your skills, whether it's editing. Maybe you say, okay, I want to create a fiction novel, but I want to learn how to write fiction or how to do character development. So there are so many resources out there that you can find to help you out, however you want to do your book. There's resources out there. There's free resources too. And there's so many apps and websites and people who, like tonight, don't mind sharing and giving advice. And so I'm gonna take notes, and I'm gonna be reaching out to those who I feel like can help me, because I'm still growing as an author. I was at an event before Christmas, and I saw an author there, and I said, "Oh, hey, I bought her book. It's somewhere in my bookshelf." And I said to her, she said, "So you're an author?" I said, "Yeah, I'm a new author." And I laughed and I said, "You know how people say they're a starving artist, like they're just new?" And I said, "Well, I'm a starving author." And we kind of laughed. But she said, "No, I don't want you to say that anymore. I want you to say that you're a multi-million-dollar author. And I want you to start saying that every day, because you have to believe that you are who you say you are. So if you're just an author getting by, then you're going to be just an author getting by and barely making it. But you want to put in the atmosphere, I'm a multi-million-dollar author." So I've been saying that, and I'm going to be that, right? And it is so, because I am who God says I am. So sometimes you got to encourage yourself. If there's no one around to encourage you, you want to encourage yourself. And so Rosalind says, someone asked you, okay, at a vendor event, okay, about audiobooks. And you're right, I can read it myself. I got a good voice. I can read my own book. I'm taking notes. I'm going to do that. So let me ask another question. I wrote it down somewhere. For those who don't know, I'm old school, so I got me a notebook, because I'll be forgetting. So I got to write these questions down so I don't forget. So, have you ever felt afraid to promote yourself as a writer? So any authors that are on this live, have you ever felt afraid to promote yourself as a writer? No pressure. That's just one of the questions out there. And then I said, what would happen in your life if you finally allow yourself to be seen. So if you took away the fear, the inconsistency, the lack of confidence, the hiding behind the writing, and the waiting for perfection, if you just said, I'm taking all that negative stuff away, what would happen in your life if you finally allowed yourself to be seen? If you said, okay, you know what, I got this. I'm going to get this book published. I'm going to push it. I'm going to go to events so I can share my book publicly. I'm going to write this content and post it, jump on videos, live like I'm doing now, or record myself, my journey as an author. What would happen in your life if you just finally said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to allow myself to be seen and be the author that I know I want to be. What does that look like for you? And you know what? I did a vision board back in 2024, and when I had my first book. And so on my vision board, my vision board has, this is 2024, the vision board has my fiction book, Entangled with Deceit. So I was just thinking the other day, I got to go back. Oh, and it had a picture. I'm going to share it on my post. When I'm off this live, I had my fiction novel. I think I had the podcast, like a picture of a podcast. I think I had a picture of like a studio audience, like speaking. And so I got to go back and update my vision board, because now I have 4 books. I have a podcast. I think I had myself traveling like an airplane. So I've met some goals on that vision board. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to recreate it for you guys and show you where I started in 2024 and where I am now. But I think it's important that you write the vision. And I had to learn that too, that I really had to put my vision on paper and create some goals for myself. And then move forward, and as I meet my goals, maybe add another goal, mark off what I've done, and then have another goal. But you want to have some goals for yourself as an author. And Rosalind says the content creation is different because on camera, it doesn't feel natural. And that's true. That's true too. Because I had to get over that. Being afraid to be on camera. And it's still a work in progress, you guys. Y'all, I'm on here too long. See, I said I wasn't going to be before you long. And look what time it is. I think I've been on here 39 minutes already. I'm supposed to be on here 15 minutes. But I'm on here 39 minutes. So yes, Rosalind, if the more you do it, the more natural it will feel. The more you do it, the more natural it will feel. So the more I do videos, the more natural it will feel. But it's all a process. And yes, vision and prayer board, absolutely. And I'm a woman of faith. I believe in God. I believe in the power of prayer. And I be praying too. Like, Lord, give me the vision so I can, write it down and step into the purpose that you call me to be. Because I like to write. That is something I enjoy doing. And I want to use my writing to help others as they pursue their writing careers. And you might just be a writer and maybe not an author, but that's okay too. But I want you to step into your purpose that God has called for you. And it might be, just writing the book and not necessarily publishing it, but you might write it and share it with others in the elementary school. Or they might say, we want you to come and read for us the writings of your poetry, or something like that. There's always opportunities for you to share with others your story, whatever that story might be. And, I just encourage you all to do that. Don't be afraid to share your story. Because believe it or not, someone or someone, person, or 100 people, you'll be surprised who shares that same story. And how you connect just by stepping out of your comfort zone and being a little more visible for people to talk with you, and you could talk with them. So does anyone have any questions for me that you want to ask me? If not, no pressure. But I'm glad I got on here tonight. I was nervous. These videos, and once I do it, I'm okay. But See, I'm stopping myself from moving forward because the fear wants to hit. But we can't let fear stop us. Not no more. Starting today, we will not let fear stop us from doing what God has called us to do. We're not going to do it. We're not going to let what people say about us. We know who we are, and we know whose we are. And we are called to do a purpose, and when you step into your purpose, then God's going to make it all right. And again, but that comes with, for me, and I'm going to speak to me first, but I had to learn that. I had to learn that it's okay if it doesn't work out, because that's probably not what God wanted or how God wanted us to work out in the first place. And, you know, we got to follow God's lead, and we got to follow God's direction. So, yeah, thank you, Rosalind, for jumping on. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. I appreciate Nicole Forbes. See, I can't say that. Cipriano. I appreciate you, bestie, for jumping on. I thank you. I want to say thank you to Tiffany and Dwayne. Thank you, Dwayne. Dwayne Hickman. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you, your encouraging words. Anita was on here, Jolene. So thank you, guys. It's a work in progress. I'm going to try to do this more. I'm going to try to do this a little more. I'm not going to say every day. You know, I'm still taking baby steps. But no. But if you are an author and you have not joined me or connected with me, I think you connected with me. A few of you have connected on the magazine. I'm a writing contributor to Listen to the magazine. And that's going to pick up again in June or July. But right now, on my podcast, if you go to payhip.com/The Variety Shop, you're going to see the first. It's going to be the Book Talk podcast. Go ahead and click on there and get your podcast interview scheduled so we can talk about your book. And again, it might not even be published yet. That's okay. But we want to talk about what book is going to be published, what you got coming, and the journey to get there. And so I'm going to also put the link in my post. I would love to have the authors come on my podcast. You can find Book Talk, the Visibility Podcast, on Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. And yes, Russell, it takes a village. It takes us collectively supporting each other. So I want you to know, those of you who are listening, who are on the live now and who are listening, I'm Dani Nicole. Please follow me. I want to support you. I'm an author that needs support as well, but I want to support you in any way I can. If it's posting your content for you, if you guys live in the Charlotte area and you're at a book fair and you ask, can you attend? I want to be intentional about supporting other authors and other people who want to, or who just want to write, or, you know, and share their story. So I'm here for you. I'm here to support you all. And again, I want to thank everyone who came out on tonight for supporting me. And if you're listening to the replay, please follow me on Facebook at Dani Nicole. I also have a Facebook page for the podcast, which is called Book Talk, Author Visibility. I now am on Substack at Dani Nicole Author. And on the Substack, I'm also sharing articles and videos for past authors that had joined me on the podcast. So, and then I'm on Instagram at author.Dani Nicole. So, everyone have a good night. Again, I thank everyone who was on and commenting. Thank you. I appreciate you. And everyone have a good night.